Yes, yes.
So, hello everyone. So, today we have Rohit Kashyap with us, who scored 267 marks in NMAT examinations, and now currently he is enjoying his life in NMIMS Mumbai. So, let's try to hear it from him. So, welcome, Rohit.
Thanks a lot for inviting me to this meeting.
Yes.
So,
So, Rohit, could you just introduce yourself briefly?
so I am Rohit Kashyap. I am from Balasore, Odisha. So I did my 12th from CET Bhubaneswar. Post that, I did my engineering from CET Bhubaneswar in computer science and engineering domain. After that, I was working in TCS for a period of approx 2 years, I can say. It was mostly work from home, and then I was during the end I was going to the office. So during that time only, I means I can say that I started attempting MBA exams mostly. So I gave CAT from 2020 till 2022. So 2022 was my third attempt to CAT. So
Right.
yeah, so I've been giving these
Yes.
exams for 3 years now.
Okay.
Currently
So,
I'm in NMIMS Mumbai core.
right. So, Rohit, can you just brief us about how you used to handle or manage, in fact, your office related work to your studies as well? So, it's quite a hectic thing to manage. So, could you just uh, tell us how you used to manage that time?
So coming to time management, I would like to stress that basically I would focus more on the weekends, because weekends are like I don't want to waste any time there. So I would have to be extra serious and extra cautious as to how I want to plan my weekends. And coming to weekdays, so what I did was I would eke out any possible, means any, uh, I can say, small passage of time, even if I get. So I would read word meanings during that time, suppose during traveling or during some small breaks. And coming to means after finishing the office hour, after the office hours gets finished, I will re-energize myself by doing something that I like. Basically, I like to play some sports. So basically, after doing some outdoor activity, or maybe taking a small break, maybe small nap for 30-45 minutes, I will then proceed to study. Apart from this,
Right.
I did do some meditation, because one thing that was needed was to keep the mind calm during exam environment. So that was also needed, means with respect to me.
Yes. So, basically, managing the time well along with enjoying your time as well is the key to like score good in the examination as well.
Yes, yes,
So,
definitely. Because one aspirant should not be like that. Because CAT is not like I can say JE exams or I or some other exams. Because it warrants someone to have a certain moment of time wherein he can evaluate himself, as in what he wants to do in life, how he is he progressing with respect to his career goals, and also to re-energize himself, because this journey is quite a long journey. It is about
right,
I can say, if someone starts giving mocks during from the month starting from the month of March, then the exam season for him will end by January. So, because
right,
that is the last exam. So it is approx, I can say, 10 months. 10 months, it is 11 months. And that is too hectic for one, because it is kind of a mock journey is kind of a cycle for one to prepare for the actual battle that will be happening in the last
right,
2 months, especially
right,
November and to January end. And within
right,
these 2 months, someone's life can change a lot, because if he starts scoring well in one exam, then he gets sort of a tempo to continue that in different exams. And he also can carry forward the momentum into his B school interviews also, because that are kind of a make or break
right,
for many candidates.
right. So, Rohit, talking about specifically about NMAT because it is the first exam of the season, right? It begins, the MBA season begins with the NMAT examination. So how you used
Yes.
to manage the non-CAT examinations along with your CAT preparation? So how did you allocate your time?
So basically, what I did was I kind of made a note, as in what topics were common with respect to CAT and non-CAT examinations. Then I followed them. I covered them religiously. So I can say that 90-95% of CAT syllabus is same with respect to different exams. Only that has a different section like decision making. But in exams like NMAT, SNAP, same skills are asked. Like in NMAT, there is LR, which is basically I can say data interpretation. So in that section, one student has to do a lot of approximation. For instance, I remember during my NMAT exam, there was some question like uh, 37 out of 38 or 39 out of 1543. So in NMAT exam, calculators are not allowed.
Uh,
So I can't evaluate like 39 by 1553. So what I did was kind of approximated that, suppose 39 to 40 and 15 or 30 or 1553 to the nearest value, that is 1500. And after calculating that, I was kind of looking for the closest value, that is to that.
right,
And also coming to NMAT, I followed a time strategy wherein I decided to allocate a certain number of minutes per question, because I remember there were 28 VRC questions and time was only for 36 minutes. So my logic was like maximum I can give is 1.1 minute per question. So I was looking at the timer and then proceeding. Coming to the RC section, and coming to the NMAT section, my strategy was like uh, follow means strategy was like do as in I should follow the reading part first, because if I keep the reading part at the end, what happened with me was I was giving different mock tests and I formulated this strategy that if I kept the reading part at the end, then I was kind of getting pressurized. So that affected my VRC score in NMAT. So I kind of tried that since NMAT has a bit easier VRC in comparison to CAT, I tried to maximize that part, VRC and LR. So I attempted VRC, then LR, because LR is not similar to the LRDI of CAT. It has a lot of critical reasoning questions like strong argument, weak argument. Then another is assumption, implicit, explicit.
right.
Syllogisms are also there. So I tried that I should first of all finish the reading part. Then I moved on to the quants section, which I kept at the end. So quants, I remember there was about 1.5 to 1.4 minutes per question. So my strategy was like to follow this many, to give this many time per question only. Because, for instance, there were 36 questions as far as I remember in quants.
Yes.
So I didn't want to be in a situation in which I will be having about 15 questions left and only 15 to 16 minutes. In that, what will happen is I will not be able to evaluate any question properly or to even have a thorough read over it, because in NMAT one can't go back to a previous question. He will have to attempt, select an answer, and proceed further. So in some questions, I did take an educated guess, but my strategy was like means I made a strategy such that I gave certain more number of minutes per question.
Okay. So that was quite comprehensively answered. So, Rohit, any tip you would like to give our incoming MB aspirants regarding the CR, critical reasoning? Because you know that forms a major portion of the logical reasoning section. So, do you have to give any tip?
So coming to critical reasoning, I practiced it from some books. I remember Arihant books I did, and there were some materials also from which I practiced. So in critical reasoning, the one area in which I was having problem was strong argument and weak argument. So
Okay.
these sort of things like strong arguments, implicit, explicit, assumption. So these are the topics that one student need to practice thoroughly, because in non-CAT exams like SNAP and NMAT, these kind of questions are asked. So if one does get a lot of positive marks in these questions, then he will get a lot of heads up,
Right.
because he will get a straight away gain and straight away advantage.
Yes, definitely. So,
And he
Rohit,
will
if
also feel a bit less pressurized, because what happens is sometimes in LR the logic might not come to one's mind, or the calculation might be quite long, so he might skip that.
right. So, regarding NMAT only, I will ask you. So, what is one tip that one needs to remember throughout giving that particular examination?
So one tip I would like to tell is, means everyone has his own strategy, so one needs to develop a strategy beforehand giving the exam. And also one needs to prepare thoroughly for the grammar meaning section, because grammar is like, if one is clear with grammatical concepts, then he will just have a look at the question and give the answer straight away. So he
Right.
can give the answer in some seconds, like 10-15 seconds, and a lot of time would be saved for him, and then he can employ the time to say RC or parajumble questions. So for VRC, one has to be strong in grammar, strong in meaning, so one has to cover that thoroughly. And coming to LR, one has to employ approximation more, because one cannot rely on hardcore calculation, because time is not there sufficient to do this. And also one has to use options for some questions, because even I remember in some QA questions there was the answer I could straight away find in some seconds by using options only. So there was no need for solving the whole problem in a logical manner. So one does have to approach certain ways in which he will be able to save a time, and also improve on the speed of solving of certain questions also.
Right. So, in a way, adapting or adapting to a smarter way of, or
Yes, yes.
adapting yourself in a smarter approach is actually one of the best things or best favor you can do for yourself.
Yeah,
And
because
one last, yes,
NMAT
yes,
score
yes, go
has
ahead.
a score has a huge weightage with respect to getting NMIMS Mumbai. So if one
Right,
gets a good NMAT score, provided his sectionals are clear, then he will have that sort of advantage when the when the PI what round starts.
right. And Rohit, what was or what according to you is an ideal number of mocks one needs to uh, give or take before appearing for the examination?
So before appearing for the examination, one has to give the two official mocks. First and foremost, the two official mocks provided by GMAT for NMAT, or I can say kind of gold dust for one, because that does give one an idea about the current position he is in coming to NMAT exam. So that two mocks one has to give religiously and in a serious mindset, as if he is taking the actual exam. Now coming to those two mocks are obviously the old mocks. They are not based on the current pattern. The current pattern, one can have an idea of the current pattern once the NMAT window starts. So based on that, he can get an idea about how many RCs are given this year for NMAT exam, or how many LR sets, how many DI sets.
Right,
Now coming to that, that two mocks, one has to kind of have a final strategy with respect to attempting those two mocks, because one can't do experimentation in that two mocks, the two official mocks which are provided for free. So
right,
before the other than that, one can obviously give some uh, non-CAD mocks that are provided by different sources.
right. So, Rohit,
Coming to this,
yes,
yeah, I
yes,
used
yes,
to
go
give
ahead.
means yeah, I basically first of all employed all of my strategy with respect to mock zone mocks, because what
Right,
happened was, first of all I needed to have a solid strategy with respect to attempting the exam. So when I took the mocks on mocks, I started giving them religiously. I was scoring, I can say, higher in some mocks, lower in some mocks. So that is kind of a journey. I learned from that, strategist accordingly. So what happened was I was previously giving QF in the first as a first section. So due to that, my VRC score was getting hampered. And when I followed vice versa and did that for a different for a more number of mocks, I found that they found out the right strategy for myself. It can be different for any other guy also. He can find that if he attempts QA first, he will score more. So it's up to one to have a final strategy with respect to when the official mocks are coming, because he will have to attempt that official mocks with a clear strategy. Like he is going to do this many questions, he is going to
Right.
attempt this section earlier. So with
Right.
respect to that, mocks on mocks was kind of a stepping stone to my success in NMAT exam, because I finalized a lot of strategy there and also
Right.
learned new methods of solving the questions, and also had an access to the plethora of questions that were there in the test series. So that gave me an idea about how to approach these questions, like strong argument, weak argument, even blood relationships questions, even implicit explicit assumption. Because what happened was, coming to the CR questions, sometimes we apply our own logic which is not needed in the
Right.
exam point of view. So we have to read the facts and apply the logic accordingly. So I gained an idea about how to approach the questions based on my practice in mocks on mocks, and then I employed it in official mocks. In official mocks, I do remember I was in one mock I got 252 and other mock was I got 257. So I contacted different friends. They told that official score, the official NMAT score will be in plus or minus 5 range in the with respect to the official exam. So that is kind of a score which one gets. So he has to attempt the official mock seriously and show that same serious mindset in the actual exam.
Right. So it is quite glad to hear that Mobzone had a role to play in your success. And also, like what I can get out from this particular thing is that you all can experiment as much as when you are giving the mocks from whichever institute you are taking from, and then finally strategizing whatever suits according to your what whichever way you are scoring the most. Okay, so Rohit,
Yeah,
that
because
was yes.
mocks are basically, I would like to say that mock journey is a longer journey when coming to cat mock journey, coming to non-cat mock journey. So in the mid or at the beginning, one has to experiment only to know what
Right.
suits him the best.
Right.
In the end, he can't experiment. Like before 1 week to exam, if I'm attempting an official mock, I will have to attempt with the same CS mindset. Now I can't experiment like I would attempt verbal first, I will attempt QA first. Then if I do this sort of experimentation, then I will not have a clear mindset with respect to attempting the original NMAT exam. And then
Right.
I may screw up there. And every marks scored in NMAT exam counts with respect to getting a head start in the PI what process in NMIMS Mumbai, because it carries a lot of weightage there.
Right. So that was very wonderful having you, Rohit, getting insights from you about how to crack NMAT actually, because you were among the top scorers in NMAT examinations. So thank
A
you
lot.
for sparing us some time from your busy schedule. So thank you once again, Rohit.
It's a lot for having the conversation.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So that's it from today's part. So let's hope to meet in the next one now. Thank you.